Good morning, good afternoon, good evening guys, wherever you are in the world. Happy New Year, it's 2025 now. I realise that we're long overdue a YouTube update. It was like 6 or 7 weeks ago the last time I put anything out. I've got James behind the camera, so that makes my life a little bit easier. So we're going to do a bit of a walk round, but just to give you a bit of an update for the more eagle-eyed people who are watching this, you may notice I'm in a different marina. I'm in the Hamble, on the Hamble River, up at Swanwick Marina. It's owned by Premier Marinas. I'm super lucky, those guys are still looking after me. There wasn't enough space down in Gosport for the boat to go back there from Plymouth, where I had the new engine and gearbox fitted. So we're in a different marina now. This is a super nice marina. It's very still. It's quite tight getting the boat in and out. And I have to motor down the River Hamble to get out into Southampton water to go sailing. But it's really good that I've got a good home for the boat. So we're going to go and just have a little bit of a look. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update on what I've been doing since Plymouth last year. We went out sailing in December over to France, broke a few things, fixed a few things. So let's go and have a look and go from there. Whilst I was in France, come up this way, we'll have a look. Unfortunately I broke something, which is really annoying. So up here, right at the front of the boat, you'll notice, well you might notice, we're missing a railings. There's a set of railings there, it's called the pulpit, on the right hand side of the boat. But this side was ripped off during Storm Daria, which was early in December. The boat was in Cherbourg Marina. I made a silly mistake. I tied a mooring line. This is a mooring line. I tied a mooring line to the railing. You should never do that. And usually it's fine, but you shouldn't do it anyway. During the high wind, the pressure on the boat by the wind caused the mooring line to slide up the railing. And of course, when it slides up, it has more leverage, and it ripped the whole railing off. So now I have to pay to get that sorted, which is a pain, but not to worry. And it also snapped a stanchion here as well. If you look here, it snapped this stanchion off here. There should be a metal rail here, so I need to get that sorted, but it's all minor stuff, it's not that difficult. So we'll take a look inside the boat now. The ballast piping was all taken out and reinstalled with different piping. Did that in France, in Cherbourg, with the help of a guy called Josh. So let's go in the boat and we'll have a look at that. Now this ballast piping has been a massive pain for me. This was the third attempt at trying to sort it out. Now it turns out that I was using the wrong piping in the first place. Finally, I managed to get the correct piping, and that's all installed. This ballast piping here is what shifts the water from one side to the other. This boat is designed to sail with ballast. The boat will sail without ballast, but it won't be as stable, and it wouldn't be quite as fast. And yeah, it's designed to work.
Explain what ballast is for people that don't have a clue.
Yeah, so what is ballast for people who don't know? That's a good question. So if the wind on the sail is blowing the boat over, you'll have a high side and a low side. And what you want to try and do is get as much weight as you can to the high side to level the boat. It steadies it out, and you'll get a performance gain. The boat will go faster, and it won't heel over as much in higher wind. So you can pump water, seawater, to the high side, which are in, there's a tank behind here, and they go further back. Now by pumping water to the high side of the boat, that's ballast, and that improves the performance of the boat, and it stops it from leaning over so much.
Yeah, basically stands it up again.
Yeah, it stands the boat up again, and you go faster as a result. So pretty much all racing boats will have ballast. A cruising boat would not have that because they don't need it. So anyway, we got that sorted with the help of a friend of mine, Josh, who's brilliant. And so that was a job that needed to be sorted out. So that's done. And what we'll do, we'll go round the back here and we're going to look at some electronics, because on the way back from France in December, when I was running the engine, it stopped charging the batteries. It turned out it was a very simple problem with a switch. I didn't know at the time, but we'll pop round the back and I'll explain. So there's two battery banks on this boat. The main one being this lithium battery here. This is a 280 amp hour lithium battery. This is the main battery. And then I have a backup bank of gel batteries just around the corner. But in order for this to charge, the gel batteries are charged first. Then from the gel batteries, it comes up to, the power would come up to these DC chargers here, and they charge the lithium battery. And when I was on my way back from France in December, when I had the engine running, the alternator would charge the batteries and charge the lithium, but I noticed it had stopped charging the lithium. Now the alternator was still producing power, so I had to figure out what was wrong, and I spent ages trying to go through different wires, diagnosing what was wrong, and it turned out all that was wrong, this switch here had been was sticky, so that's now off, so no power is going to these DC to DC chargers. Now it's back on, they're working, and I didn't quite spot that this was not in correctly. So really simple thing, but I spent hours. But it's all about trial and error. It's all about learning, and you know, I'm going around the world on my own, so I need to know every single wire on this boat. And yeah, fault finding is a really good way of practicing, a good thing to do. So as time goes, I'm getting my head around this, and my understanding is becoming a lot better. So I had that little issue, but off the back of that issue I learned something, which is good for me. I have to build a battery box around this lithium battery. You don't really want a lithium battery exposed. If you were to drop something on it and damaged it, it could catch fire, and it would be a chemical reaction. You cannot put the fire out if this lithium battery went up in smoke. So I need to build something around this to protect it, so that's on my to-do list. So yeah, let's go and have a look at something else. Another little job, my video camera, you see video loss, that's the camera on the mast. That's quite an important one. It's looking forward, and that stopped working. So a dodgy connection or something, but it's a pain. That's what I need to sort out as well. So we'll have a little look at that, add that to the to-do list. So you can see a lot of the good luck messages on the inside of the boat here, guys. And if anyone ever wants to come down to the boat, have a look, you can write a good luck message for me inside the boat. There's one of the cameras, look, staring at us. We're on the screen there. But this will be my home for 8 months as I go around the world. I quite often get asked, like, how do I feel about sailing around the world? And sometimes it can feel quite overwhelming, especially when you have a really steep learning curve. But I always look at where I was last year to where I am now. My knowledge and experience is on another level. So I try to remind myself of that. And effectively what works for me is I just break things down. It's like just do one job at a time, one thing at a time. Otherwise, and the absolute key is I write everything down. So I have a massive to-do list of all the things that I want to do, and instead of it kind of spinning around in my brain and overloading me, I write everything down. And that just helps me think a little bit clearer and not get so confused. And really, I just work through it one job at a time. I'm not really going to be doing a great deal of sailing, really, probably until March. There's been some cost implications of the delay and now leaving this year as opposed to last year. And it's my responsibility now to find the shortfall of funding that I need. That's really hard. So a lot of my time now is spent trying to find some new partners that will come on board the project and help out. That's the hardest part, by the way. Working on this boat and sailing it is actually pretty easy. So that's really where a lot of my time is going to be spent over the next couple of months, and then into the spring and early summer I'll be out sailing a lot, and then I'm out of here at the end of July. So that's what we're doing, and the idea is now I want to try and be a bit more disciplined this year and start bringing you more regular updates on what's going on. And if you have any questions or you want to look at anything on the boat, or just ask me how do you do that, how does that work, why do you do that, just leave them in the comments down below, and I'll get back to you. And yeah, like and subscribe. Alright guys, that's it for today. Out for now.